Hello everyone and welcome to 9-inch Charge. Today we're going to be looking at the War Scroll for Lord Commander Bastian Carthalos. Now in a recent Warhammer community article talking about the Stormcast Eternals Battle Tome, they showed this image of the new War Scroll cards for the Stormcast, and from that the War Scroll for Bastian Carthalos has been deciphered. So today we're going to have a look at it, have a look at all his stats, all his abilities, have a see how he plays on the tabletop, and see if his rules live up to the epicness of his model. Just before we jump into it, if this video is something that you enjoy, please drop it a like. It really means a lot to me and it helps people find the channel. And if you'd like to see more like this in the future, we've got plenty of new War Scroll reviews planned. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Bastian Carthalos has a 6-inch move characteristic, which makes him as quick and sure-footed as an elf, despite his bulky appearance. This puts him a point quicker than most other Stormcast units on foot. He has 8 wounds, which is really solid, really great. A bravery of 10. Of course he has a bravery of 10, because as the Lord Commander, surely he must be the most steadfast warrior in the Stormcast Eternals army. And he has a 3+ save. I'm fine with this. I think there's some people out there who think, why doesn't he have a 2+ save when other units like Annihilators do? But we have to remember he doesn't have a big old Annihilator shield. And with a command point, we can make this into a 2+ pretty easily. He is armed with an absolutely massive Warhammer called Uskavar the Sunrender. It has 4 attacks, it hits on 3s, wounds on 2s, has a rend characteristic of 2, and does 4 damage per attack. It never degrades, it's just a flat 4 damage every time he hits you. I think that's really great. However, I don't think he's quite the powerhouse that it seems on face value. Having 3s to hit with only 4 attacks means that he is probably going to miss with at least one of his attacks, and then you've got to roll to wounds, your opponent will have a save. You know, he's likely to do probably 8 damage. So I think all-out attack is going to be pretty vital on him to get him up to 2s and 2s. Personally, I would have liked to have seen this be maybe a couple more of attacks, either that or Rend 3, because Rend 2 with all-out defense, you know, is going to come down to Rend 1, and it's going to have slightly less of an impact than we would think. But actually, his massive hammer isn't really where he shines. It's his abilities is why you're going to take him. He has got some phenomenal abilities, so let's have a look at them. First up, we have Vessel of the Tempest. This unit has a ward save of 4+. So this is where it doesn't really matter that he doesn't have that 2+ save that the Annihilators have, because after his 3-up, which as we said you can make a 2-up with all-out defense, he has a 4+ ward save. So he's really steadfast. He is not moving. He's not going anywhere. On top of this, he has an ability called Mantle of the First Storm. At the end of a phase, if any models were destroyed by wounds caused by this unit's attacks in that phase, you can heal all wounds allocated to this unit. And as we've seen from Uskavar the Sunrender, it's not going to be difficult for him to slay something. So if you're in combat with him, you're pretty much going to have to wipe him out in one whole phase. Otherwise, he's going to turn around, smash something into oblivion with his massive hammer, and regain all his wounds. What I really like about the combination of these two rules is that it really feels like he is the Lord Commander and he's out leading the charge and he's smashing through the hordes and he's just undefeatable. You can just imagine him in the scenario Apex Predators, where if a leader is contesting an objective, no one else can control it until that leader is destroyed. His next ability allows him to call thunder to rain down on enemies on the battlefield. Once per turn, you may choose an enemy unit on the battlefield and roll a number of dice equal to its wound characteristic. For each 6, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. This ability fits really well with the new edition of Age of Sigmar, with lots of monsters being prevalent. There's going to be lots of high wound models about, so I think even though it's only on a 6, there is actually the potential for it to do quite a bit of damage and actually do some consistent, reliable damage, and when it spikes, it's going to be brilliant. Here we're talking on average 6 mortal wounds dealt to a Mega Gargant a turn, or 2 to 3 a turn on your medium-sized monsters like your Colossal Squigs, Man-Crusher Gargants or Dragons. What's cool about this as well is that it is anywhere on the battlefield, so it's completely rangeless. So monsters beware, there's absolutely no hiding place. The storm is coming. So those are his offensive and defensive capabilities all looked at. But of course he is the Lord Commander of the Hammers of Sigmar and he is known for being an extraordinary general. So let's see what he does on the tabletop to show us his commanding and tactical prowess. Bastion has the ability Castellan of Azure. At the start of the first battle round, after determining who has the first turn, but before the first turn begins, you can select up to D3 friendly Hammers of Sigmar units and redeploy them Any restrictions from the battle plan still apply. This is pretty cool because it opens up a lot of things that you can do. Catch your opponent off guard. For example, you could play a refused flank, whereby once you finish deployment, you roll your dice and then you move D3 units over to one flank, and then you can absolutely dominate one side of the battlefield. You can also use this to readjust your deployment to make sure you get the best matchups. For example, that unit that you really want to go into a monster, for example, and then they've deployed the monster the other side of the battlefield, you can then just take them and line them up so that you can get your best matchups. Really great for shooting units as well, making sure that you're within range of something that you want to be able to shoot at. This is particularly relevant now that we have more one-drop armies in the game, because the chances are if you're one-drop, you are going to get out-deployed. That's the biggest downside of taking a one-drop army, is that, you know, you've shown your hand completely to your enemy and then they get a chance to deploy in reaction to that. So this will let you undo some of that and make sure you get the matchups that you want, even with a one-drop deployment. And his last ability is Voice of Thunder. Once per turn, this unit can issue a command to a Hammers of Sigmar unit without a command point being spent. There's a slight bit of variation in the sources that I've got for this War Scroll. Some people say that this can be used to a Hammers of Sigmar unit anywhere on the battlefield, and others say it can just be used as per usual. So we'll have to wait and see, you know, till we got the War Scroll card actually in our hands before we know this. However, either way, it's still a fantastic ability. Command point generation is a massive part of the game in this edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And of course, the more the better, and being able to use it for free is just great. It's like having one extra one every single turn. On the face of it, the go-to one is to give all-out attack to Bastion. But of course, all the command abilities have their own use, and of course, the Hammers of Sigmar will get their own command ability in the upcoming Stormcast Eternals Battle Tome. At the moment, on a 5+, it lets you return a slain unit to the battlefield if that unit is a Redeemer. Now, I'm pretty sure this is going to change because the Redeemers are the kind of older Stormcast models, that your Liberators and things like that. And I think we're going to see a push towards the new models like the Vindictors. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it makes sense personally for it to be a unit anywhere on the battlefield, as it would just suit his character and his background a bit more. I have to say that all in all, with all the abilities and stat profile, I think that this War Scroll is brilliant and it's really fitting for him. He really feels like a leader. He feels invincible. He's got great abilities for commanding. He can call lightning down on his opponents. I think he's great. My prediction is that he'll land around the 300 points mark, which will put him in line with Indastra and the Celestant Prime. I think he feels quite good in this points cost for the different things that he's able to do, especially his durability, his ability to redeploy units, and the free command point you'll get every turn. But War Scroll aside, you'll want to take him just because of the phenomenal model. His pose is just commanding. It just says, I am the Lord Commander all over, and I do think the War Scroll really reflects this. Probably the best and most reflective War Scroll we've seen since Kragnos, who wasn't released that long ago. They're doing a great job with these War Scrolls, so long may that continue. So that's been everything. Let me know in the comments what you think about him, if you'll be taking him in your Stormcast Eternals, if he's inspired you to paint your army gold and take the Hammers of Sigmar. As ever, this has been 9-Inch Charge. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to drop this video a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And I'll catch you next time.